Hey there, Sherry Caulfield here. Welcome to today's Two on Tuesday. Each week, I share a powerful 2-minute tip that, when implemented in your business, will have a dramatic increase on your productivity, your revenue, and the ease and success you enjoy. Now, today we're going to talk about one of my least favorite topics, which is taxes, and one of my most favorite, how to save money on your taxes. And here's a strategy that I want to share with you today that I use to legitimately increase my business expenses while I travel as much as I want to. Okay, sound like a good plan? Here's the deal. Many of you know that I sold my home in California, put my stuff in storage, which I just finally got out of storage recently, and started traveling virtually full-time, about 9 months of the year, taking my business with me. This was several years ago, right before the pandemic. And I've continued to do that ever since. Now, when I do that, and originally I just kind of traveled where I wanted to travel. But one of the things that I discovered with my CPA's help, now disclaimer, I'm not a CPA or an attorney, but disclaimer made. I discovered a strategy that I could use to legitimately write off a good portion of my travel expenses wherever I went in the world. And that's what I want to share with you today. So basically, when I decide where I want to go, here's the strategy I use. I decide where I want to go. So for instance, I decide that I wanted to go to Canada, Quebec City and Montreal. I'm going in a couple of months here. So what I do is, once I decide the city I want to go to and the timing that I want to go for the fall colors, for instance. What I do is I go into my community, whether it's on LinkedIn, it's on Facebook, it's in my email list, and I find people in my community that live in those cities. I reach out to them via Facebook, via LinkedIn, via whatever strategy I can, email if I have that, and I tell them legitimately, hey, I'm going to be in Quebec City these dates, you're in my community. I love to meet people in my community, would love to catch up with you and meet for coffee. Okay, step one, right? When they respond, I try to set up that coffee, because I do legitimately want to meet with members of my tribe, right? Then what I do is I say, by the way, do you know of any groups, entrepreneurial groups in Quebec City that might be interested in having an expert on lead generation, for instance, speak to them while I'm in town? And I do that to get introductions for small to medium-sized speaking opportunities, so that when I'm in that city, I have a couple of reasons that I can legitimately write off a good portion of those business expenses. I'm going to Quebec City. I'm going to have coffee with a potential client, collaboration partner, somebody that is part of my business. And when I can speak to a group, that's a second reason why that's a legitimate business expense. So now I can write off a good portion of my total trip expenses because I am doing business while I'm in that city. This has worked for me for the last 6-7 years in my business. I legitimately write off, I should say, 25 to 33% generally is what I will write off, depending on the trip, of my expenses for an entire month. For instance, I can write off because of the business activity I am conducting while I am in that city. And that adds up to thousands of dollars in tax savings each and every year. So if you love to travel and you want to combine travel with saving money on your taxes, this is a strategy for you to check out. That's it for this week's Two on Tuesday. I'll see you next week.